And against the Democrats, even though they're your allies. In democracy.
No, we have to make it clear. They are not our allies.
Yeah,
allies.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we made it. I made it clear in the last show as well that they're not our allies as well.
But you were once grouped together as the Pan-Democrats.
No
once
more.
upon a time.
No more. Yeah. But no more, yeah. Because actually, when
but your goal is democracy.
But the DAB goes also is democracy. They claim their goal is democracy as well, and we split it. Actually, back in last year, the Democratic Party support of the constitutional reform.
Okay, I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to remind the public of this that the reason why you split from the so-called democracy camp was your party, the Democratic Party, supported some political reforms last year, which you didn't think went far enough, and you disagreed with their support for it, and so there was a split. Now, as I said, Sin Chung Kai, both of you lost in the election, and the person, you ran in the same district, and you were fighting against each other, and there was a third candidate from Regina Yip's New People's Party, and that person ended up winning. Do you blame Christopher Lau?
I didn't blame him in a single constituencies, but people's power is destructive to the democratic
people power is destructive to your movement,
to the democratic movement in general, and it's very harmful to Democratic Party and also Frederick Fong, the People's Livelihoods parties.
That party also didn't do well. Neither did the Civic Party.
Yeah, and
they're all supposedly pro-democracy.
And people's powers is being so you know, they created, the people's power created a very bad image for democratic movements, and and that image actually resulted in
your major defeat, the democracy.
That's an interesting opinion, that because they did not see us as allies, we do not see them as allies. We ran against each other, and they blame us. To blame our image affecting their election defeat.
You know, Christopher Lau, to be fair, what Sin Chung Kai was saying, you were both once upon a time in the so-called pro-democracy group. What he's now saying is because you wanted to, and you used the word yourself, and so did your party, the People Power, punish the Democratic Party for supporting political reforms which you didn't think went far enough last year, and because of that you set out in this election last Sunday to punish them. That's what he's saying, and that hurt the entire movement.
Right. Yeah, we are not the one who punished them. We are putting to the voters and asked them whether they would or they would not want to punish them.
The voters didn't buy it.
Yeah, I agree that the voters didn't buy it.
You lost big.
And also, that I have to make it clear, there's not the reason for punishing, or the putting to the voters to punish the Democratic Party is not because the constitutional reform package didn't went far enough. It's because actually the Democratic Party betrayed their allies and their voters at the very last minute before the voting of the constitutional reform package. Their election platform back in 2008, a legislative council election, was the 2012 universal suffrage, and they actually said it back in 2009 and 2010 in early May. But they turned at the very last minute, and that was the very reason why they put the voters.
Sin Chung Kai, what Christopher Lau said here was a betrayal, that your party betrayed the democracy cause. That's what the
Democratic Party is firm on what we did. It's very firm on what we believe. We supported the reform pack, a modified reform package, and the general support. All the polls says, you know, there's over 60% of the support.
We are public support. Of which 40% belongs to the pro-establishment camp anyway. So if they claim there's a majority support anyway, they can do it.
Can I finish?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, for any reforms, you know, there is certainly some more, you know, ideal package, but if you can't get the more ideal one, then can you actually compromise with a better but not good enough one? We did choose.
Which is what you did.
Yes, what we did, and which we gained at least some support. Not only by, not only as he said, you know, but we do have some support from the Democratic supporters. In the light of the elections, even though our Democratic Party did not do well enough in the district council elections, but in many of our constituencies elections, we gained votes, even though we lost some seats. You
talk about last Sunday's election.
Yes. And that actually proved that our support continues to receive the similar original support.
Well, the point you're making is you just supported a democracy package put forward by the government, which your
modified package.
Right, it was modified. Your party, the People Power, did not support this because you feel that it didn't go all the way.
No, I have to correct that. They support the modified package only at the very last minute.
Is that your argument, that it was only the very last minute?
Of course, their insistence back in early May of 2010 was actually contradicting the final modified package. They have three insistences. One of them is actually...
What does it matter, Chris?
It does matter. It does matter. It means that actually Mr. Sin said that they stood firm on sort of democracy.
But then
they used the word compromise after that. And actually they betrayed the allies because they didn't even consult the allies of the 23
Christopher, may I put this to you? You said they betrayed you.
No, but their voters as well and the allies.
But you betrayed, by setting out to punish them for their last-minute change, you betrayed the cause of democracy. Would you agree with that?
No, of course not.
I disagree.
I think, as I said in the very beginning,
his party betrayed the cause of democracy by punishing you in last Sunday's election, and you failed.
Yeah, I failed, but I did not punish them. It's actually I put to the voters to punish them. The voters can decide. So how could you say that?
But
we
the voters punished you and benefited your opponents, the DAB.
That runs contrary to the interpretation of the election.
That is their intended consequences.
That is intended consequence, right?
Their intended consequences.
Their intended consequences.
I believe their intended consequences is to have the establishment
party. Your ally at one time in democracy intended to benefit the DAB.
They intended to punish them. No. Betrayal of the democratic cause.
In those voting stations, I saw what the people's voter, they are hugging and so friendly with the pro-establishment camps.
Oh, interesting. That's what they called sort of a betraying of the democratic cause. But actually, it's the Democratic Party who support the government's proposal at the very last minute.
But what's your guy saying?
Indication.
You either have a half-full cup or a half-empty cup, depending on how you see it. His party felt that that's the best democracy package we could get.
Only at the very last minute, and not in early May 2010.
Okay, but then at the earlier time, they felt they couldn't get anything, and so they went for the whole thing, full democracy. Finally, they felt that they couldn't get it, so they took half of what they could get.
That means they can compromise anything. That means they can compromise anything.
But politics is compromise.
But they didn't even consult their allies when they supported the constitutional reform package. Not even the Civic Party, not even the League of Social Democrats knew that the Democratic Party would, with the most so-called form package.
So that is it. You feel slighted. And
no, not really. It's because actually, if a so-called Democratic Party can change at the very last minute...
If he had consulted you, would you have agreed to go along with...
No, we would not agree. Then they would have to decide whether or not to go with the ally or have to go with the government. If they go with the government, they actually sever ties with us. And we're no longer allies. And how can they call themselves Democrats?
You know, the way
it was them who
the way I'm listening to both of you now, it seems that bitterness is running so deep that together before you voted together for causes in the Legislative Council that you thought would help your cause. You were allies. You, the Civic Party, Democratic Party, your People Power, the LSD. You were all allies. Now you're all splintered, and the people sent a message last Sunday. We don't like it. Are you going to reconcile with each other now?
No, definitely not.
No, we're definitely not.
Democratic Party disagree with their performance in the LegCo. They're violent, and they are not in the parliamentary
violent
manner.
That they throw things at the chief executive.
That is not the way that people wants. And they are so radical, and I think they are pushing themselves to the extent that people do not accept them.
So we're not talking about democratic cause. We're talking about the parliamentary performance. So interesting. So this is what the Democratic parties call democracy.
But you go into the Legislative Council and you throw things. That is not democracy as well, because you have to let the other guy talk.
No, okay, throw things, because we do not have a democratic government anyway. We don't have a democratic legislature anyway. In all the East Asian countries, even some European countries, in order to do some protests, in order to...
We also disagree that they block the roads. They have the right to demonstrate, but they do not have the right to influence the the welfare or the livelihood of the general public.
You see, they're going for the conciliatory route. They're not talking about the democratic cause. They're not talking about the voting record on the most important political agenda. They're talking about parliamentary performance.
No, I don't think that's what Sin Chung Kai is talking about. I think what Sin Chung Kai is saying
No, they use that reason to sympathize with us and say we are not the Democrats.
What he's saying is the way you conduct yourself in the Legislative Council.
And that's the reason they see us not as pan-democrats. Fine, but you can tell that the reason is not about the democratic cause.
Okay, we'll pick it up after a break. Don't go away. See you soon.